Hey, I know I'm like making like videos like every day, honestly, but I have a lot of topics I want to talk about right now. And like right now, what's been on my mind recently is the current TikTok and like YouTube. Like I feel like there's like a gender war that's been playing out between these platforms. Like obviously everyone hears about the whole gender war, like boys versus girl thing, but like I think we don't really understand. I don't think people understand how severe the divide between like young women and young men are nowadays. Like I was on TikTok. I was scrolling through TikTok, right? And like I noticed this pattern that on TikTok where for every post I saw where it was like a woman talking about women's issues, there was probably only like one or two posts talking about men's issues. And it's kind of weird because like if you go on like YouTube, it's the complete opposite. There's hundreds of videos of like incel black pill YouTubers talking about like issues men face in today's society. And on TikTok, it seems like every video is women's issues. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I've noticed that anytime that a man talks about male issues on TikTok, he gets shit for it. Or it's like, I think it's like, they're like where it's like constantly, like, seems like men are being shit on TikTok by young women and by, male feminist types. When usually it's male feminists who are the ones who are the shitty men, because like they are the ones who usually expect sex out of females or women. I hate to say the word female. That's kind of, that's kind of like objectifying them. But feminist men are the ones who usually use feminism to like, get sex out of women, and that's a topic for another day. But like, I'm noticing that all on TikTok is just women shitting on men, like trying to make rage bait towards men, like trying to make men angry by saying like, oh, I literally saw a TikTok where a woman said that women use men for money because that's all men have, that's all the value men have. And yeah, I see there's some of that shit I see on TikTok too, where men will try to purposely rage bait women, but it's to a much lesser extent on TikTok. And I think that more of that like misogynistic content, like red pill content, is more so on YouTube because it does well on YouTube. Because I think a lot more young men watch YouTube videos, whereas young women watch like TikTok videos. And this is kind of like, I think, a very interesting phenomenon. Because obviously the sexes have always been, arguing and having like problems since the beginning of time. I mean, for the longest time, men have, oppressed women and have like subjugated women to their, will, which is what all the whole feminist stuff was about. First wave, second wave, like giving women the right to vote, stuff like that. But I think nowadays we've kind of overcorrected a little bit, where nowadays it's like, I'm not saying that men are oppressed, but nowadays it seems like men get shit on for like objectifying women way so more than it's really being shown. Because like most men now are not misogynists. Most men are like, they're like fine with women. They want to like be a good partner for their woman. Because now a lot of men don't live traditional lives anymore. There's no like the whole trad wife thing's a psyop. You'll never get a trad wife. If you actually want a trad wife, you have to prepare to live traditionally. You have to be the provider. Because now in modern society, women work just as much as men. So really, like, it's really more so that you see women shitting on men for like stuff that only like a small minority of men actually do, and you see like men shitting on women for being whores when the vast majority of women aren't whores. And it's like, now men seem to be like the one that's it's okay to make fun of a man like for his height or like his dick size or something, but it's not okay to make fun of a woman for her weight. And it's like, I think both of those it should be wrong to make fun of people for any reason for their appearance, because like, it's just, I don't know, like, you can change your weight but you can't change your height, so it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if anything, it should be considered more bad to make fun of someone's height than their weight. Not saying that you should make fun of someone for their weight, because like, that's really, I've experienced being made fun of for my weight, and it's a really horrible feeling, you know? But like, I don't know. I'm kind of going nowhere with this video. I'm just rambling to myself. But I think my final point is that, like, I don't know. Like, I think men and women need to learn that they're not enemies. You're not enemies to each other. Like that one TikToker said, we're not enemies. We're on the same team. We're on the human team. And I think that this whole gender war stuff is just a psyop to get us angry and arguing with each other, instead of like having like solidarity in the fact that we're all suffering in these current times. It's like that, like this one, I saw this really funny TikTok where someone makes a comment on a Ben Shapiro video where he says that basically your whole job is to make half the population hate, like half the population hating the other half, like basically having us hate each other, like for our differences. And it's kind of annoying. I think there's too much division in the world, and I think we should like work towards a better future, you know? So yeah, I want to read this before I leave, I forgot I wanted to read this comment that I wrote on a Discord call. Now let me bring it up. And yeah, I said, men and women are on a completely different planet when it comes to social media. I've been on TikTok and I've noticed that the vast majority of its users are young women, and they view men I have seen on there are the typical soy boy beta male feminists who just take their entire gender being vilified, and then there are a few guys talking about men's issues, but they mostly get shit on. The same is true on YouTube and Twitter, but with the roles reversed. Have we really as a society let our young people get radicalized by gender political extremists? It seems on TikTok and Instagram, all you see are women saying all men are rapists and pedophiles, and on YouTube and Twitter, all you have seen are men thinking that all women are whores or who only fuck chads. This divide is definitely not organic. Men and women have been struggling to communicate since the beginning, but this is on another level. So, yeah. So, I do think that these societal, like, things, these, like things, they're not, there's definitely being pushed by, like, these algorithms, because what corporations want is that for us to be divided. And I'm going to leave you with a George Carlin quote that I think really sums up, like, why it's, like, better to not focus on division and, like, try to, you know, like, unify, you know, against, like, the struggles we have faced. And you can subscribe, I don't care.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, tell you what. Now, to balance the scale, I'd like to talk about some things that bring us together. Things that point out our similarities instead of our differences. Because that's all you ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. fairly simple thing happens to work. You know, anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything they can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. The middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class.